The Kirk Cousins sweepstakes has been one that us as Minnesota Vikings fans have kept a close eye on, and basically the entire NFL has kept a close eye on because Kirk Cousins, well, his value, I think, has rose over the years just because he's a pretty decent quarterback. However, he does choke in those clutch moments. But, hey, times may be changing. You never know. He's on a contract year, one of which his future is kind of uncertain with the Minnesota Vikings just because of the amount of cap space us as Vikings fans or us as an organization have. I think it's only like $30-some million if I do believe so off the top of my head. And Kirk Cousins' number is rising. We've heard a couple of these projected contract what do you want to say, extensions would be for Kirk Cousins. The first one was like 2 years, $60 million. He gets $34.5 guaranteed. The next one was 2 years, $90 million. That's $45 million a year, fully guaranteed. That's something that I do not want to happen. Okay, the first one, 2 years, $60 million, $34.5 guaranteed. Sure, we'll sign him for that. Draft a rookie quarterback, have that rookie learn under Kirk Cousins, and then the Cousins stint here in Minnesota is over. But at $90 million, that is just way too much. I just can't understand it. And however, today I seen something on ESPN, or one of the insiders, I should say, in ESPN, gave a new projected contract value for Kirk Cousins, and it has only gotten bigger. So let's get right to it. Before we do, make sure to subscribe to the channel for all your Minnesota Vikings updates and news. So, as we mentioned numerous times, in order to keep Cousins from hitting unrestricted free agency, the Vikings would have to have a deal worked out with him before the start of the new league year on March 13th. Now, the amount Cousins should receive has, of course, been the subject of a great deal of debate ever since Cousins injured his Achilles on the cow pasture in Lambeau Field back in Week 8. Now, behind the ESPN paywall, Bill Barnwell has a projection for how much he thinks Cousins is worth in free agency, and, well, it's an awfully big number. Here's what he said. Any team hoping to win over the next 3 years that isn't in position to land one of the top starters in the 2024 draft should be trying to pursue Kirk Cousins. That's a group that includes the Denver Broncos, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Atlanta Falcons, Las Vegas Raiders, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Tennessee Titans, with the Miami Dolphins and Seattle Seahawks as outside candidates if they move on from their current starters. I would take the Miami Dolphins out of there. I think they're going to roll with Tua. There's no doubt in my mind about that. The Seahawks, though, you never know. Okay, are they going to roll with Geno? Could they go find a different starter like Kirk Cousins? That's possible, right? Now, some of those teams will opt for longer shots in the draft, but if Cousins' recovery is on track, which today he posted a nice video of him dropping back, throwing balls, making some good passes only after 4 months of recovery, he looks pretty good. If he is on track, he should be able to get one more significant deal as a 35-year-old free agent. His average annual salary projection, $51 million per season, and I'm not a fan of that. Okay, if that is what is projected and that is what he is seeking, now again, this is all rumors. These are just projections. This isn't Kirk Cousins coming out and saying, I need $51 million a year. This is just projection, okay? At that price, he can kick rocks, he can walk, he can go to a different team. I don't want him. We don't have the cap for it. We need to look at other positions anyways on the field defensively. And then in the draft, we can take a rookie quarterback for a cheaper contract for, at least the next 4 to 5 seasons, which I think most of us as Vikings fans would be, much more okay with. But if that's the number that presents additional problems for the Vikings because of the way they handled Cousins' current deal and the void years they're putting the $28.5 million cap hit on the club in 2024, that they'll have to account for if Cousins doesn't come back. They're actually quite limited on how much they can offer him. So that $28.5 million basically comes from all the voided years that we put on his contract back in 2022, 2020. Yeah, I think it was like 2020 all the way through 2022. Had a couple void years, some extra money and stuff like that we haven't had to pay because he was still on the team. But if he does hit free agency, that means that $28.5 million goes right to the Minnesota Vikings, which means the Vikings have to pay Kirk Cousins that $28 million. Now, if we do sign Cousins to a new deal, okay, it's going to be cheaper just because of the fact of that $28.5 million is sitting there basically just kind of waiting to get paid out. So it's going to be a cheaper deal where we add that $28.5 million. Not saying it's going to happen, but if he actually wants $51 million, there's no way he's going to get it because if you take that 51, you add this money, the 28, you're looking at, $70-some million, $80-some million almost for Kirk Cousins. sorry, but no thanks. So he's still going to get that 28.5 if he walks in free agency. It's just dead money, and that goes against our cap. But if the Vikings are going to get a deal done with Cousins before the start of the 2024 league year on March 13th, it's going to top out at $40 million per year. No more, no less. That is, or probably less, but it's not going to go higher than $40 million. That means there won't be anything happening with Cousins and the Vikings after the new league year because, again, the Vikings aren't going to take the $28.5 million dead cap hit and pay Cousins a hefty salary on top of that, which is what I just mentioned, right? We're not going to give him $50 million per year and then still have to pay that $28.5 million. That's just, it's not a good business move. It's not smart for an organization to do that thing, even though, the salary cap continues to rise year after year. It just isn't a smart move for us. So if it's going to be a salary, it's going to top out at $40 million. Then you can pack on that $28.5 in dead cap. But at this point in time, if nothing happens before March 13th, okay, Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings most likely will not be together. Okay, Cousins will not be our quarterback moving forward unless Cousins wants to take a team-friendly deal, come back for a season or two on a cheap deal, fully guaranteed, like $40 mil, fully guaranteed for one season. Bada bing, bada boom, you get your rookie quarterback in the draft. You fix your defense just a little bit in free agency and later on in the draft and kind of move forward that way. But if nothing happens between March or before March 13th, I would like to say that Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings will not be together. So you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 1,150 subs, so make sure to subscribe right now. It'd be much, much appreciated. Have a great rest of your night, folks, and Skol Vikes.